Hi guys, how are you today? Thank you for joining me today and watching the video as well as listening to the podcast. I'm here today with one of the real estate agents in Auckland. His name is Louie Caunter and he works for Sotheby's International and he is a real estate agent. I was really impressed the way he was doing so many videos and information regarding being a real estate agent on TikTok as well as he reads books at 5 a.m. and he is a very good mentor if anybody is looking into becoming a real estate agent. So I have Louis here and I'm going to interview him and ask him few questions. Hi Louis, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much. That was a very nice introduction.
Thank you so much. And I didn't prepare for it. I just do it on the spot.
Off the tongue. No, very good. I like it.
Thank you so much. And so first of all, are you from New Zealand or where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm originally from the UK.
Yeah.
So I came over with my family in 2002. I've got a younger brother and a younger sister, and mum and dad are here as well. So we came over in 2002. We lived in Milton Keynes in England. Most people won't know where that's from. They've never heard of Milton Keynes. They only ever hear of, Manchester, London, Liverpool, or somewhere like that. But it's in between. It's a city in between Birmingham and London. So in the middle of the UK, there's not much goes on there, and it wasn't unsafe or it wasn't too bad. But my mum and dad kind of just decided when they started to have a family, I'm the oldest, that they decided that they wanted to just have a better life for us. So that was the main reason they wanted to move out to New Zealand. We had a little bit of family here. So that was a big decision for them, obviously, to take us across the world. We've been back a couple of times, but I definitely feel like New Zealand is where I'm probably going to live for the rest of my life. And I think if you live here, you can see those reasons why.
Yes, I have been here since 7.5 years and I love it. So, what is your background is like? What is your education background and what you have been doing so far?
Yep. So that's a bit of an interesting one. My education, I obviously went through the intermediate school system and high school system. I'm from Westlake Boys High School. A lot of you, if you are from the North Shore or even from over the city side, you'll know Westlake Boys quite well. Very strong academic school, very strong sporting school, very good culturally. My academic side was not always my strong suit, but I managed to avoid getting into too much trouble and then made my way into university. So I studied a history degree. You can probably see all these books up here. It's half of it's historical fiction, half of it's personal development. History is a major passion of mine and has always been. So I studied history for 3 years. Then I took a 1-year break and went to live in Melbourne to play football, soccer. I'm a goalkeeper, so that's also another one of my main passions in life. And then I came back to New Zealand when I was about 24 or 23, 24, and I studied a postgraduate diploma in secondary teaching. So that was when I went into teachers college to train to become a teacher. I know it's it's a very different career path, isn't it? That's what most people are very surprised when I tell them that. So I studied history and social studies. So I am a qualified history and social studies teacher, believe it or not. Did a year and I taught at colleges in my placement, like Rangitoto and Glenfield College on the shore, which was a really cool experience. But I just felt that like I was 23, 24 at the time. It wasn't really what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And after talking to a lot of teachers, I decided to pursue a career in real estate. So after speaking to a couple of my close friends at the time, one of them was a mortgage advisor, one of them was a real estate agent. I had a couple of coffees, had a couple of meetings with some people in the industry, and they said, hey, we'll think you'd be really good at this. I think this really suits you. This aligns with what you want to do for the rest of your life. And the things that I wanted to achieve anyway. So that was kind of how I fell into it almost.
Oh, nice. So what motivates you every day?
Well, that's a tough one. I don't know if I'm motivated every day. I think, and this is something that my brother and I speak about a lot. He's a personal trainer and he's very much into the same things as I am in terms of the development and the discipline side of things. I definitely wouldn't say that I'm motivated every day. And I think it's a little bit of that's the first hurdle is understanding that not everyone's always going to be motivated every single day of their life. For the last 2 days in a row, I was personally really, really tired, just a little bit run down, some people around me been feeling a little bit ill, so maybe that rubs off on me. Don't worry, I've got my COVID test. I'm back and I'm negative, so I'm good to go. But I think, to be honest, it's discipline is the main thing that gets people out of bed in the morning. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. For the last maybe four years, like you said, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. Sometimes there was a period of time in my life where I was waking up at 4:30 a.m. just for no other reason, just to get ahead on my day and to get up early, have some good food, nutritional food, get some water in my system, and get to the gym. Reading books early in the morning. Some people find it difficult to kind of switch their brain on, but I really feel like it's a really powerful way to start my day, and I do feel like I really benefit from it. But in saying, about the motivation versus discipline, there are so many mornings where I'll wake up and it's a little bit cold, or I feel a little bit sluggish, and motivation is not the thing that gets you out of bed. It's definitely the discipline, and the discipline is being able to do the same thing every day without wavering, or just keeping your eyes on the goal in the distance, and sucking it up and just dealing with it when you really don't want to. On the days that you don't want to do it, those are the days that are usually the most rewarding.
Yes, and I saw in your stories that you always read books, so that's why I remember that easily. Yeah. And so, who is Louie as a person, except the real estate?
Except the real estate, well, I guess I touched on a few things already. I think obviously the history has and always will be a really important part of my life. My mum and my granddad are definitely people who instilled that in me as well, like when I was a lot younger. But aside from that, football is something that takes up a large portion of my time. I've been playing since I can remember. Obviously, as a young boy from England, there's nothing else you really want to do apart from be a footballer. So coming over to New Zealand, that was probably one of the more difficult things, is in transitioning into a country where football, first of all, well, it is the main sport over here because that's the most kids over here play it. But I think it's obviously just rugby is very dominant over here. And I didn't quite understand, when I was like 10 years old, going out at morning tea and going out at lunchtime to play sports in the field, that like only 20% of the kids wanted to play football and everyone else wanted to play rugby. And like, to be honest, I was like, I couldn't think of anything worse than doing that at that point in my life. Obviously, I'm into all sports now, and I watch all sports. I'm a big fan of rugby, big fan of all sorts, especially when there's the major international tournaments. But football is something that has just dominated my life for a long period of time. I still play at a decent level. I did play at a nationwide level in New Zealand. Obviously went overseas multiple times with Auckland City, and had some incredible experiences. But I think these days it's something that has had to take a bit of a backseat to my work. And obviously every young footballer really, there's a point in your life where you kind of decide, okay, I'm not going to pursue the professional dream anymore. I'm going to decide to set up shop, in New Zealand or Australia or wherever it may be, and pursue a career. And that's really what I decided to do with the real estate. But football history, I live in a really nice big flat with a lot of my close friends. I'm a big family guy. I go out socializing, have some drinks with friends. And yeah, obviously the reading and stuff as well is something that keeps me fulfilled. So there's all sorts that I like to do.
That's good. So there were so many real estate companies, right? Why did you choose going to so the one that you're working with, Sotheby's, I think?
Yep, Sotheby's, New Zealand Sotheby's. Yeah. So it's a really good question. It's a question that probably one of the most common questions I get asked on TikTok. I do get a little bit hesitant to share, comment back and share what companies I'm working for and things like that, because I really don't want it to be too much about that when I'm on TikTok. I want it to be more about me providing information to people that have no other means of getting that information. It's not simple.
Let's not talk about Sotheby's. Let's say, what things you should look for when you want to be a real estate agent in a good company?
Absolutely. And I'm more than happy to talk about Sotheby's as a company as well. I was just kind of touching on the fact that people on TikTok sometimes, I'm more providing information for them rather than the company. But Sotheby's is a phenomenal company. I've only been here for about 7 months. I joined them at the start of this year. Mm-hmm. There are many companies in New Zealand, and there are many companies in Australia. And to be completely honest with you, most of them are really good companies. I think The majority of them are run very well. They're organized very well. It's just about finding the best personal fit for you. And that's the same thing that I always preach on TikTok when I'm, or even on Instagram. A lot of people will DM me. I get about 5 or 6 DMs a week, sometimes more, about people asking me which company I should go to. What do I recommend? And I say, look, write down a list of 4, 5, 6 companies or offices in your area and go and meet all of them and go and have a conversation with all of them, because at the end of the day, what suits me might not suit the next person, because I have different personality, I have different characteristics, I will have a different relationship with the company. So it's definitely about shopping around and finding what you think might work for you. You know, if you were going to go buy a car or buy a house or something, you're not going to walk straight into the first one that you see, are you? Which is unfortunately what I did. You know, I started at Barton and Thompson, which is an incredible company. I had a lot of fun there. I was only there for 6 months, and I just felt like the area that I was working in, which was you know, it was around Northcote, Hillcrest area. I hadn't been raised around there. I was very unfamiliar with those suburbs and didn't really know much about them. It was quite far from it, about 35 minutes away from where I was living in Browns Bay at the time. And that side of the North Shore, I was, like I said, just unfamiliar with it, and I didn't really have as much of a strong connection with it. So I left their company and I moved to Harcourts Cooper & Co., which is, to be honest, one of the best brands, I think, in New Zealand. Had an incredible time there, spent about 2 years, or about 1.5 to 2 years there. Again, I was in and out of different, a couple of people's teams, one person's team, and that's another story. But in Harcourts Cooper & Co., I joined somebody's team. He was a very high performer in the Bays, which was an area that I was really passionate about. I was working in the Browns Bay office, which was an incredible office, incredible manager, and incredible agents there. And all of those things made it so much easier for me to wake up in the morning and go to work. So all of the people there contributed to like a really positive working environment. And that's what I was so fond of. I kind of feel like I went through a period where I was just unhappy with life. I had some other personal stuff going on with, girlfriends, this and that. So I was in a bit of a rut. And in that point, I decided, that was kind of last summer. And then I decided to move to Sotheby's for a couple of different opportunities. They got me a really good time. Otherwise, I was super happy at Harcourts Cooper & Co., working for somebody who had been really, really a strong agent in the Bays for about 10 plus years. And I learned more from him, and I learned more at Harcourts than I did in my whole first year in real estate. And it was crazy. So that's how powerful it is when you're in the correct environment. And that's why I always stress to young agents or people getting into the industry, you don't understand how important it is to align yourself with the right brand and the right people from the start. Because I could genuinely tell you right now, hand on heart, that my first year in real estate was pretty much a waste of time. I learned almost nothing. I made virtually no money. I was floundering around. I was working in this area, working in that area. I was on a terrible split, a percentage split with the person who I was in the team with. And that was just because I didn't know any better. I was being taken advantage of. My time was being taken advantage of. My efforts and my energy and my enthusiasm were all being taken advantage of. And that's what I guess I really want to prevent for young, driven and hungry agents, because at the end of the day, I couldn't tell you how many times I was near to quitting, at the very start, just because of how difficult it was. So, and I feel like I'm a good agent. I'm a talented agent. I'm a young, driven human being. And I don't want people like me to decide that the industry is not for them just because they've been taken advantage of by older agents or other companies.
Yeah, that's true. Got very good information. And what tips would you say? Like you have said that choose 5 and see what your alignment. What was your alignment with the company that you found would suits you?
Yeah, so I guess Harcourts was a very family kind of vibe company. It was very, very positive energy. All of the branch managers were actually, instead of just being really good salespeople, they were actually really incredible managers as well. All of them had shown that they could be successful in all kind of facets of the company. the way the company was being run was really, really good. And they were a company that competes in the mid-range of real estate, the kind of the median dollar value homes, which is great because you can pump out a hell of a lot of volume, and most homeowners, if you knock on the door, they'll know who Harcourts, Cooper & Co are. So that was a really easy company for me to be a part of. I felt like I fit in there really well. With Sotheby's, it's a very, very different company. Once you understand the intricacies and the ins and outs of real estate, you'll understand that a lot of the companies do have a massive, massive amount of differences. Sotheby's only operates really in the high end. So we're talking kind of luxury properties. The minimum scale is 2 million plus. I have colleagues that have listings that are, 10, 15, $25 million of real estate. So that's, I think, what my decision was in coming to Sotheby's is I personally can only really affect two things ultimately as a real estate agent on my end, and that is the volume of homes that I can sell and the average sale price. And obviously the average sale price will have a direct it's directly relative to how much commission you make. Obviously, if you're selling a $10 million home, you're making more commission than selling a $1 million home. So I kind of thought the opportunity arose, and I kind of thought the sooner that I step into a company like this that's working with those high-end companies, and obviously you get paid a little bit more as well for effectively the same work. I just felt for myself, I suit this company, I suit the brand, I'm very aligned with all of the people there. The sooner that I join this company and establish myself, the better off I'm going to be down the track.
Interesting. And so, do you know what the most expensive house in Auckland then?
The most expensive house in Auckland? Oh no, I should have done my homework before this. To be honest, no, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know if it's I don't know if you're referring to the most expensive sale. I do know there've been a couple of record sales. Sotheby's International Realtor, we got one of the biggest sales in the country last year. I believe that was around 27 mil.
Wow.
I could be a little bit off with that one, to be honest with you, but like I said, it's incredible being exposed to deals of that size, and especially how nonchalantly the people that I work with speak about it. It's kind of crazy. I'm very used to people talking about 800,000, 1 million, 900, $1.1 million deals, and kind of now being aligned with agents, really, really good agents that are working with properties that are 2 mil, 4, 6, 8, 10, 15 plus $1 million properties. It's been a really cool experience. I'm the youngest agent, obviously, in the office. Sotheby's don't usually take on agents that are younger, or they usually kind of want their agents to be super experienced because of the clientele you're going to be dealing with. But it's been an incredible experience so far, and I'm super excited about the rest of the year, especially.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like buying the expensive houses. So when somebody tries to buy a house, some people are buying it for 600,000, 500,000, or whatever the price is. What would you recommend them, looking for while buying a house?
There's a lot of things, I guess. All of the folks
just
that
common things.
Yeah. To be completely honest with you, something that's going to take a lot of pain out of the process is actually working with an agent. A lot of people don't realize that as a buyer, they can actually engage a real estate agent and say, hey, I need help buying a house. I don't want, to miss out on things. I don't want to, be taken advantage of in any way. So a lot of people don't realize that they can speak to a real estate agent, and the real estate agent can work on their behalf to find them a property to purchase. So they are the one that's having all the conversation with the other agents. They are the one that's going to be dealing with all the documents. They'll sign you up for open homes. They'll send you properties that they think you might like. And finally, and most importantly, they will help you the whole way through the sale process. And that's with the sale and purchase agreement. That's with the auction. That's with any other form of the, any other part of the purchasing process. So honestly, go to an agent, find a good agent. It's important they're local to you, and it's important that they work in the area that you're looking. Because if somebody came to me, I live and work in the East Coast Bays on the North Shore of Auckland, and somebody said, hey, can you come and find me a property in South Auckland? it's going to be really difficult because I don't know the market there. It's really, really far away from me, and I'm going to be out of touch with all the properties kind of in that area. So you really want to find a local expert, particularly somebody who's maybe a little bit younger or somebody who's new to real estate, because they're going to have the most time for you.
Yeah. And does this cost them anything, having a buyer's agent?
Great question. Okay. And I should have touched on this because it's very common knowledge for real estate agents, but it's not common knowledge for normal people. So this will not cost you as a buyer. It doesn't cost you $1. So if I found yourself a property as a buyer's agent, like how I'm explaining, I am only paid at the end of the sale when the successful transaction is made. So you know, we go to auction, you buy the house, I will be paid out of the other agent's commission. Okay, so if agent A lists a house, I bring you to the house, you buy it at auction, I am paid usually about 30%. 30% is standard. I'm paid out of that other agent's commission.
Oh,
so it doesn't cost $1. So effectively, my time and my services to you are free until we purchase you we find you a house.
Oh, that's amazing. And what about can you attend auctions on their behalf?
If you say you're out of the country and we had an auction tonight, and I could go there, you know, and be a phone bidder for you, I can bid on your behalf. But obviously, it's better if you're there in person because you can kind of see other people and you can read their faces. And you, at the end of the day, you're going to need to be the one to fill out the contract if you were successful anyway.
Yeah. So next question I have is, what is the difference between people selling the house with an agent, without an agent?
Good question again. So with an agent, obviously it's usually an exclusive agency. So a homeowner will employ one agent and one agency, you know, Harcourt, Sotheby's, Barfoot and Thompson, to sell their property, and they will be charged a commission for all of the services that are included. Okay. Aside from that, a lot of people choose to sell their home via private sale, which is something that's very possible. A lot of homeowners who think they know the market well enough, they know the legal side well enough, they know how to actually market their home well enough, think that they'd be capable of marketing and getting a good result. And I believe they probably could be, you know, they could do that, you know. So it's completely up to the person doing it. But at the end of the day, I think everyone's goal when they're selling their home is to make as much money from the transaction as possible. And that's what we as agents do for homeowners. That is our one sole purpose, is to achieve the best result we possibly can for our clients and for our homeowners. When people sell their homes privately, sometimes they don't quite understand, but they make it very difficult for themselves to do that, because usually they're the ones doing the negotiating, and that can get very emotional, and people can get very defensive about what they see in terms of value on their home, and they don't have an ability to run all processes, all methods of sales. So if you're doing a private sale as a homeowner, you can't run an auction campaign, and auction campaigns are widely seen, and it's agreed in the real estate industry that they're the most successful and profitable way to sell your home. So only obviously the main agencies in New Zealand will offer that, and that's when you delay the sale of the home, usually by about 3 or 4 weeks. You get as much interest in that home as possible. You set a date for the sale of that home. All of the interested buyers turn up on the same day, and they literally compete. It's like a trade meet. It's like a trade meet auction. It's very, very simple. The more people you get through the home, the more people will turn up to the auction. The more people you have at the auction, the more people bid. And the more that people bid, the more money you'll get at the end of the day for your owners. So it's pretty much a bulletproof process on selling your home. As long as your home is squeaky clean and good condition, it has no issues with code of compliance, then it's really, really definitely the best way to sell your home.
Yeah, interesting. So it would be a better option to choose an agent, because then a lot of things you can actually save on. Because sometimes people don't think in a way like, you know, they think about, oh, we're going to save money with an agent, but they forget how much time they are putting on it.
Correct. And it's a very hotly debated decision really. And yes, you might save yourself $30,000 in fees, but you might miss out on extracting another $200,000 to $300,000 from the market that you could only get from running an auction campaign or running a for sale by tender or whatever you would be. So it's a very, and it can be a successful process for some people that know what they're doing, but in most cases what I see is a very short-sighted owner, and they think, I want to save this money, I'm good enough to do it themselves. And usually after 2 or 3 weeks of doing it themselves, they've got a headache, their phone's blowing up, no one's giving them the money they want, and by that time they've already shot themselves in the foot, because 70% of the market has already seen their home because it's been listed privately, and then it makes the actual rest of the process much more difficult as well.
True. And what about what is the difference between an auction and the ask price or something?
Yep,
what is the difference between both?
Another good question. So I kind of just explained the auction process. Obviously, you list the home with a date, usually 4 weeks out. You employ an auctioneer to turn up on the day and take the bids and field the bids. And they're very, very talented human beings, auctioneers. I often look at them and just think there's no way that I could do this sort of level of arithmetic and maths in my mind as fast as they do. And sometimes they're taking bids from all sorts of places. There's a couple of different methods. Auction, in my experience, has been the most successful because you give everyone the opportunity to buy it, and everyone sees where the bidding is.
Mm-hmm.
If you get 3 people on auction day standing next to each other, they're putting their hand up and they're saying 1,000 here, 1,000 there. At least if you lose, you know who's getting the home and you know how much more they're willing to pay for it. If you list a house with a price, you often run into the issue of, how do you know the price that you're putting on the home is going to be the price that it should sell for? Because at the end of the day, if you want to sell your home for $1 million, but somebody would have paid 1.2 for it, you've just missed out on $200,000, and but you're none the wiser. So marketing a home without a price is definitely, in the current market, the best way to go. Putting a price on the home is something that you usually do after a failed auction campaign. Say you don't reach the desired level for the homeowner to want to sell their home. After that has happened, you run the auction campaign, it fails, it gets passed in an auction, it doesn't sell, then you can put a price on it after, and that will often give you an increase of inquiry. And when that happens, you usually get a lot more people inquiring on the property because they can actually see how much the owners want for it. So it's definitely not something that I would do if I was just launching a property.
Okay. And I have seen that some of the auctions, you go to the place and the auctions is happening, and some are by paper based. What's that difference? Why is that so different?
In terms of what did you mean? Sorry, about the auction?
Like some people go to the office and does the auction, and some people say put an offer through paperwork. And is that auctions are also 2 types?
Yeah, well, the only 2 types of auctions that I can imagine you'd be speaking about is on site or in rooms. So most big companies will have rooms big enough to host multiple auctions through the course of the night. So for example, when I was at Harcourts in Takapuna, they have a larger room, and they would run auctions on a Tuesday and Thursday. If it was a really hot market, most time usually just on a Thursday, and you start at 6 o'clock and you have about 10 homes ready to be sold on the night. All of the auctioneers there, all of the buyers are there, and they kind of rattle them off like a conveyor belt. So it's a really good way of doing it, to be honest. If you have a home that isn't, if it's in winter, maybe people don't want to turn up to an on-site auction, but I think in summer, the best thing you could possibly do, especially if you've got a gorgeous property, a really well presented property, is have an on-site auction, because that way you know that all of the people that are turning up are there for the auction that you're about to conduct. You get more commitment from the buyers. You see who's truly interested in the house, and it's just nicer just to be at the home. It's more emotional. Residential real estate is very emotional. It's an emotional industry. It's an emotional game. So getting people to kind of buy into that is really, really important, especially on auction day.
Okay. And I see that you guys also put offers on different houses. How does that work?
agent putting offers on different houses?
Yes,
No,
on behalf of the client.
right. So not something that I've done in the past. The only way that I could see that being a thing is if people had certain clauses in them that would allow them to do that. But for most people, buyers only usually place one offer on one house at a time, because if both offers get accepted, or if you put 2 or 3 offers on different properties, then and all of them get accepted, then you've just legally signed yourself up to purchase 3 properties, and it gets a bit hairy unless you have certain clauses in there to protect yourself.
And so let's talk about how important it is for you to network in between people to get listing, or do you like more door knocking?
Yep. So getting more listings and getting more business is always something that a lot of real estate agents, everyone has their own way of doing things. Obviously, I've never really been someone who places a large emphasis on networking per se. Obviously, I'd like to think that if any of my close friends or anyone was selling their house, then I'd like to think that I'd be at least part of the conversation. Because that's how you come across to your friends is who you really are, and I think a lot of the people that are close to me would trust me selling their biggest asset just because of who I am as a person. And that's something that you can't really get from networking and going to events. I think relationships like that are important. I think it is important because you never, if you go to let's say a coffee catch up every week and you're meeting with different business professionals from different fields, yes, I think there's value to that 100%. But I don't think that's necessarily going to get me a listing in the next 2 or 3 months, So I think the things that will get you a listing is just activity. And this is, again, something I preach massively on my TikTok. And what I tell people when they ask me questions on Instagram is activity is the thing that will make you money in this industry. You don't have to be good at talking. You don't have to look the part. You don't have to have the best scripts or dialogues or anything. If you are active and you are a volume agent when it comes to prospecting, you will get listings and you will make money. And that's like bottom line.
Yeah, true. And to become an agent, what is the process? Is it what is involved?
Yep. So there's a couple of different things that you can do. You can do, first of all, you just search up, and I think it's called the National Salesperson Certificate Level 4. And there are a bunch of different providers, Open Polytechnic, Skills. I think Unitech offer a course. It's about $1,000 to do the course, or $2,000 depending on if you do it in room, like in class, like with a lecturer. I think that will take about 8 weeks. Or you have the option to do it kind of from distance as an online session, which is actually what I chose. They give you 6 months to do it. I was studying, teaching, working, and coaching and playing football at the same time. So I was slammed when I was doing mine, but I managed to pump it out in about 4 months. If anyone else is looking at it, I would definitely recommend blocking out 8 weeks of your life and just committing to it and going straight for it, because the sooner you can get it done, the sooner you can get into the industry. And the sooner you can get into the industry, that's when the real learning begins. Because to be honest with you, you can ask most real estate agents. I couldn't tell you on one hand, I couldn't count 5 things that I learned from that degree. It's just a prerequisite degree to get you into the industry. All of the learning, 99% of the learning is done on the job with experience.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I also learned everything while doing the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and how much does the license cost?
The license itself, so once you've completed the study, I think it's about $800 or $900, and you have to renew that every single year.
So how much does that cost?
$800 to $900.
$800 to $900. Okay, that's not that expensive. It's just that you have to save that much money to make sure you can get it.
You've got to be making money in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And now, have you got any kind of so as I know you're coaching people and advising people on TikTok, have you thought about being a mentor to people as well, like charging them to be that?
Yeah, like I have thought about it a little bit, and I think it is something that I definitely consider, but it's not really something that I want to market myself as. Obviously I like to give free advice and stuff like that, and it does get to a point where I have to say to people, kind of, look, like you can't just ask me every single question there is about real estate, because I've got to work too. If you're a follower of me on TikTok or anything like that, you'd probably see that there'll be times where I go for weeks without posting stuff, and all of a sudden I'll post 10 things in the space of 2 or 3 days, and that's purely because of my own workload. TikTok's got, it's not my full-time anything. It's merely kind of just a hobby, and it's something to help the next generation of real estate agents, transition faster into a difficult industry. So I definitely would consider mentoring if somebody reached out to me and was willing. Obviously, I have to think about how much my time is worth and how much that whole process is worth, because it's more about my own time and the value of my own time. And I think I would have to prove the person that I was mentoring to make sure that they were kind of worthy of investing weeks and weeks of my time into.
Or maybe a short course that you can sell on your website. Maybe.
Yeah. I've thought about courses before. I think the problem with courses these days is that, especially in things like e-commerce and things like that, they've been there's now definitely a negative. How do I say this? There's a negative. Courses these days are a little bit. They have the reputation of being a little bit scammy. I've bought courses before. I've bought successful courses before. I've paid for mentors before. I have mentors currently that are worth 10 times more money than I've ever paid for them. But because the world of courses and mentorship is like that, a lot of people have taken advantage and made average courses and charge people thousands of dollars for them. So I don't want to be one of those people. If somebody wants my guidance and mentorship, then yes, absolutely, I can, give me 10 minutes and I can put a dollar value on that. But in terms of courses and stuff like that, it's not so much something that I'm thinking about right now.
Oh, sweet. I just thought to ask, because this can help a lot many people, because you have the knowledge.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And how did you manage to start using the TikTok as well as Instagram for your real estate? Because I don't see many people are doing that. So how does that transition came in?
How did it come in? I think I started, I can't remember, I'd have to scroll back on my videos. I can't remember when I started, but I was living by myself in an apartment and TikTok started to pick up, and I kind of just saw like a bit of I'd look for real estate on TikTok, and just because everyone wants to know relatable things, with TikTok and Instagram, when you look at memes and funny things on the internet, you always want what's relatable. So all the relatable things were just in America, and they were very American, and America does real estate a lot different to New Zealand and Australia. It's a complete different industry almost. So I kind of just thought, there's, why not document a little bit of my experience? So when I was at Harcourts, I started doing that a little bit with the open homes, and when I was having conversations with buyers or useful things that I thought were funny, and I just ended up chucking them up, and then all of a sudden, a couple of them go not viral, but like, you get a few 100,000 views on something, and you start getting all these followers, and now I've got 5,000 followers, and people are asking me questions every day. Like, it's kind of a bit random how it got here, and now I just seem to be this person that people come to for advice, and I didn't even really have any idea that I could even do that for people. So I just feel like these days anyway, I'm quite big on giving back without any expectation for anything in return, because in turn everything will come back and towards me, hopefully, if I just give. So I think at this point, I'm pretty happy just to help people with information and provide as much advice as possible. And then, fingers crossed, I'll be rewarded in the future.
You will be. You're doing really well. I really like the way you're sharing your knowledge. It's not an easy thing. But now I understand why, because you're a teacher.
Yes, exactly. It's the way that I present it.
Yes. And in terms of, if somebody comes to you today to buy a house, how much does it cost them? Like, the marketing, and then the photographs and all of those things, and how much commission, something?
Yep. So to sell a house, I think maybe what you were referring to is it varies depending on what company you use. Most real estate companies in New Zealand will charge you between 2 and 4% commission to sell a home. So let's just go for 4%, which is the highest usually in New Zealand. On $1 million house, the owner will be charged $40,000 in commissions. So if I was to sell a home that was worth $1 million, I wouldn't make personally $40,000. The company would take sometimes between 50 and 70% of that commission. They would take between 50 or 30%. The agent, so myself, the person who does the whole campaign and sells the home, runs the auction, whatever, we are paid between 50 and 70%. So I could make anything between 20 to 30,000 on that one sale. It's usually closer to 50% for newer agents. Experienced agents usually get around 70%. So I guess, yeah, it's a lot of money, but why do you become a real estate agent? Because nobody becomes a real estate agent because they love houses. People say that, but it's kind of just a bit, it's rubbish. Like, I joined real estate because I want to achieve financial freedom, and I want to do things for my family and for my friends that maybe they wouldn't have had the opportunity to do if it wasn't for me. So I'm just passionate about that. That's my reason that I do it. And I want to create a life for myself that only a job in an industry like this could create. So with regards to the other marketing and things like that, it depends on the home, it depends on the owner, and it depends on the agent. For a recent campaign that I'm going to be pushing, we're doing some 15 terrace townhouses in the top of the North Shore in Long Bay, and we've extracted about $30,000 of marketing for that campaign, which is an incredible amount of money. Bearing in mind it's a big development, so you do need a little bit more money. There are 15 homes there. For the listing that I have, again, a little bit outside of the North Shore, north of the North Shore, we've got about a $10,000 marketing package there, plus another $4,000 for staging. So I'm really happy with that. Again, I think owners who can see the value in a big marketing package are the ones that will always do the best, because at the end of the day, the more marketing money you spend, the bigger you cast your net, and the more people see your home. The more people see your home, the more people turn up to open homes. And nice, as I said, the more people that turn up to the open homes, turn up to the auction, put their hand up at the auction, and then you have more people. You can't sell a secret. So you've got to be really, really aggressive in the way that you market your home, I believe, anyway.
That's true. And what about staging? So do we have professional people who come and stage the houses?
Yep. You have professional individual companies. I couldn't name any off the top of my head. I've just engaged with a new staging company to do my new listing. But yeah, they're all, as far as I know, they're very good. They're very good companies. The one that I'm working with have been excellent thus far. They do a great job. You have your staging done. Then you have your photos done, and then you'd start your marketing. So you push it up on Trade Me, realestate.co.nz, all the other portals. And then at the end, you have the auction. You sell the home, and then within about a month, the commission is paid out. So I actually don't get paid a single dollar until the owners are happy with the price that I've got them on auction day. So that's the beauty of it. You can, as the homeowner, you can cancel the campaign at any time. They can tear up the agency agreement and say, Louie, I don't want to sell my house anymore. And I have to say, yeah, you know what, that's fine. Let's look at it 6 months later, or let's look at it a year later. Obviously that rarely happens, because I like to be quite hands-on and communicate as best as I can with the owners. So I like to feel that I've got my finger on the pulse and I know what they're feeling. And I know, it gets stressful before auction, but usually you just have to hold their hand a little bit through the process and say, look, it's going to be all right. And usually it is.
Oh, sweet. So another question I have is, what is a day like for you, for Louie Caunter, every day?
Yeah, I got asked
as a real estate agent.
Yeah, I got asked to do one of these on TikTok recently, didn't I? So I had to put something together. But to be honest, non-lockdown, we'll go out of lockdown, because this is just random times at the moment. Yes. Wake up at about 5 in the morning, go downstairs, have a coffee, read a good book for about 15 minutes, head to the gym, do about an hour session at the gym, come back, have like a healthy, like some sort of healthy breakfast, like a I don't know, not porridge. What does everyone use? Like an oats and berries, and all that stuff. And then come back to my setup here, which is do some work here.
Whoa.
so I get a bit of a head start on like my work day here if I have any urgent emails or any urgent stuff that I need to get to, and then usually I will either have appointments through the middle of the day, or I will go into work and do some work or have some meetings and things like that. Real estate agents' days are, it's very hard for us to say what we would do in one day because our days are honestly, they're so random. Sometimes I just have to drop everything and go to an appointment because that's maybe the only time a buyer can meet me. So there are sometimes if I'm selling developments, which I have 2 of those coming up, I might have to go and be on a showroom for 2 hours of my day. If it's a Saturday or Sunday, I've likely got open homes. Sometimes on Fridays, I'll take the morning off. I'll go get a coffee with one of my mates, or I'll go get a haircut. I've just started putting together a new like a new zone for my farming. So farming in real estate is when you pick between 500 to 1,000 homes in a specific area that you're passionate about and start dropping flyers, door knocking, dropping DLEs, dropping marketing material in the boxes, and hoping that people decide that hey, they want to talk to me before they sell their home. So I've just chosen a new area because I've had obviously a bit of a shift in the last 6 to 8 months with my real estate. So I've just chosen a new area I'm super passionate about, close to mum and dad's house, close to where I got raised, close to the primary school that I went to. So I'm super enthusiastic about hitting that, and that's something that will take up a lot of my time, preparing the mail outs, preparing the DLEs, preparing the letters, and then actually going and doing the letter drops. Is obviously I'm not at a point in my real estate career right now where I have the money to throw at somebody to go and deliver 1,000 flyers a week. Big agents often do that, or the lazier agents or people that don't feel fit enough to do it. But I see it as a great way to get out and exercise. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. But like I said, it's kind of a bit, people see real estate agents going out for coffee or going out for a drink and be like, oh, I want to live that kind of lifestyle. But no, it's a lot of the time if a new development launches or a new listing launches, you can be doing 12 plus hours a day. And it's not by choice. Do you know what I mean? Like, people will call you at whatever time they want if they want to buy the house that you're selling, and you just have to suck it up. And there is a little bit of sacrifice involved, but that's why you get paid well.
Yeah, and I have seen in because I see a lot of real estate agent videos on YouTube. I've seen in even in Australia, US, that they are opening drinks. And one time there was a lady who arranged Botox treatment for the open house. These kind of things happen in New Zealand?
In the North Shore of New Zealand, I can 100% guarantee that you will not see any agent offering Botox treatment. But I do know agents that they'll put out a little bit of food or some cookies or some coffee, or not so much wine. I think wine and champagne and stuff is definitely, like, if you work and sell over the city side or in the East Coast bays of Auckland, the Mission Bay and Herne Bay and the very kind of the wealthier areas, if you will. That's where you might get champagne on an evening open home. But on the North Shore, everyone's very grounded. All the agents are very cool. They're very down to earth mostly, and maybe we'll get a bottle of water if it's a hot summer day. Maybe you get some cookies. Sometimes they give some sweets to the kids to distract them and to stop them rubbing their hands all over the furniture or glass. But not Botox.
Not Botox. And not even drinks as well, because obviously health and safety as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the rules are around providing like beer or wine or something in an open home. I think you've obviously got to have some sort of license or something, but I definitely wouldn't be offering that. I'll probably just drink it anyway.
Sweet, thank you for that information. So I would like to ask, what would you recommend a new real estate agent to do in the start?
Follow me on TikTok. No, just kidding. Go and have meetings with as many people as you can that are in the industry, branch managers, agents in the area that you want to work, or for the company that you think might be cool to work for, and just ask them about what the industry is like, how much they can expect to make in their first year, how hard they have to work, how many hours they have to put in. Mostly, asking agents this can sometimes be a bit difficult, because they'll say this is how I do it, or this is how I do it, and they realistically might not be making any money themselves. So make sure you do a bit of research, go on agents' profiles and have a little look around. And branch managers are usually the best. And just ask about the company, and ask about what it's like to work at the company. They usually won't lie to you, and they like being pretty straight up. In my experience, all the branch managers that I've ever met love talking about real estate. They've been working in the industry for 5, 10, 15 plus years. So there's a reason for that. So I think just going and doing a bit of research for yourself, and literally feeling the vibe when you walk into an office, and seeing if the agents are walking around smiling, laughing, or if they're actually miserable. If they're miserable, then you're probably not in the right place. So it's definitely just about finding what you enjoy and what you love, and you need to be with a company that aligns with you.
That's true. And lastly, I would like to know 5 takeaways from Louie Caunter.
5 takeaways?
Yes.
Is it my 5 favorite takeaway food places?
No. Takeaways as in what any motivation speech, or you would say, I use these 5 things that I follow, and it is like, and I know number 1 is discipline for you.
Yeah, okay, so I'll add a little bit to number 1. Okay, so number 1 is discipline will always beat motivation no matter what. So if you can become a disciplined human being, then you'll wake up and you'll never need motivation. And my brother and people that I know and people that I'm close with will absolutely back me up on that. My second one is probably I believe everyone should be reading at least 2 to 3 hours a week, and that's like really minimal. Obviously personal development books are my like forte, but even anything else, it just expands your mind. And it's really important, I think, for people, especially younger generation. I consider myself in the younger generation of real estate agents, even though I'm 28, to be reading constantly, because if you're not filling your mind with stuff like that, and you're not filling your mind with positivity and expanding it, then it's not growing, and it's just staying stagnant. So number 3, probably just set some sort of limit on your phone for how much time you can spend on social medias. Obviously I'm a big person, I'm a big advocate for TikTok. It's free marketing, it's free reach, it's incredible for a lot of good things, and it has a lot of good benefits. But obviously there are a lot of people that will spend way too much time on their app, Instagram, Facebook, even Snapchat, whatever. Set yourself some time limit reminders on your phone, so at least in the back of your mind, if you hit those reminders, it's telling you shouldn't be spending any more time on this app. So I think it's really important, because I always feel like it just corrodes your mind. It really limits your cognitive ability the more time that you spend. And there are days where I spend too much time on TikTok or Instagram, whatever. I'm not perfect, but I think at least you should be aware of what it does to your mind and how much it limits you. So number 4, I definitely, obviously, is something else that's massive throughout me for my day, is just exercises. Is if you can, wake up and exercise early in the morning, and if you come back from the gym, you'll just feel, honestly, it feels incredible, just like that post-workout dopamine rush. That's why all of the top people, top business people, they're the ones, the ones that the 5 a.m. club. I'm giving this to one of my friends soon. She's super keen to read it. Again, it's just all the top people in the world, all the top business people. Look at what they do. Tony Robbins, Kevin Hart, all rappers that you follow, Big Sean, like all of them wake up as the sun's coming up, exercise, they sweat, and you feel incredible. It will change the course of your day. I promise you that. And 5, I don't know. That was 4 was probably my limit, but I don't know. Exercise gratitude and just be kind to other people without expecting anything else in return. Like I really, it's something that I've been trying to work on as much as I can this year. The last 18 months for me have been like super tough, just for heaps of personal reasons, but got some good friends around me, got some good people around me. And now all I'm trying to do as much as I can is just be grateful for what I have, especially with all the things. You look at what's happening around the world, it's mental. And you have to just not take things for granted around you, and you've got to be grateful for what you have. I've got to be grateful for this chair that I'm sitting on. this water that I'm drinking, the coffee that I'm drinking before, and just realize that there are so many people around the world that don't have access to any of that, and just doing everything you can just to accept that, you know, I'm lucky, I'm blessed, I'm in a very, very fortunate position. I'm in a position where I can make money that could change my life and change the life of people around me. So just being really aware of that, and, you know, trying to do as much as I possibly can for others, again, without expectation of anything in return. It's a real big challenge. It's a really hard thing to do sometimes when you get in moods, or when you're upset, or when you're angry, or when you haven't slept well. But yeah, if you can do those 5 things, and trust me, I can't do them all every day 10 out of 10, but sometimes I'm 9 out of 10, sometimes I'm 9.5 out of 10. So if you can do all those things, you'll be a happy person.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, and really means a lot. And I can see you are English, but you become Kiwi now. But the way you give back, all of those things.
Yeah. In between English, Kiwi, I'll take it.
No. While having conversation, I can tell you are a Kiwi now.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
you are English, but the way you do things for people, it's very Kiwi.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time. Is there a possibility we can do a giveaway from you?
A giveaway?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe
I don't know what I have to offer.
1 hour mentor session with one of the new, or that 5 a.m. book. 5 a.m.
That 5 a.m. book.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to lend it to somebody, but I actually think the mentor, maybe like a half hour, some sort of half an hour, like mentorship, or like any sort of, if anyone wants to just have half an hour on the phone with me, I'm more than happy just to sit down and do a half hour call with them, and ask them and talk to them about what their goals are, what their targets are, anything with regards to real estate. I'm more than happy to do that.
Perfect. Then that's perfect.
Cool.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate that. And once I'll send you the link when I post this video, and Perfect. Let me know if you want me to share anything for the description about you on the video. And thank you to all the listeners and the people who are watching the video. Please contact Louie if you need any help with buying houses or selling houses, because he can definitely help, because he not only works, but he also gives back to the community, which is not everyone is doing. And if you are looking to buy a house, you can buy it from anybody. If you want a home, then Louie Caunter is the one.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
See ya.
Thanks a lot. See ya. Bye.
See ya.